She told one little lie to fit in, and it spiraled into a love story she never saw coming. Welcome to Belize City, where ambition meets pretension and one fake boyfriend might just become the real thing. This is Love Under False Pretenses, a Belizean romance, a story of class, comedy, and Caribbean love. The lie that started it all. Shanice Tillett always walked with her head held high, even when life threw her curveballs. At 29, she worked as a receptionist at Harris & Grant Law on Queen Street, where her job mostly involved saying, "Please hold," and avoiding calls from irate clients. But inside, she had dreams the size of Belize's great blue hole. She often doodled interior design ideas in her notebook during lunch breaks, imagining vibrant throw pillows and rustic wooden accents in upscale homes she could never afford. When she received the glittery digital invite for the St. Catherine's High School 10-year reunion, her heart dropped. The RSVP page was a highlight reel of her former classmates, now doctors, entrepreneurs, embassy workers, and the ever-perfect Camilla Usher, who apparently had married a junior minister. Shanice felt panic rise. What would she say when they asked what she'd done with her life? She thought of a quick fix, a tiny lie. She told the reunion committee she owned an interior design company, Tillett Touch Interiors. She even designed a logo using Canva and put it on her WhatsApp profile. Then the lie snowballed. "They said you bringing your man?" her cousin Jasmine asked during a pedicure. "Yeah," Shanice blurted out. "He's a businessman, very successful, owns boats." Jasmine's mouth formed a perfect O. "Girl, I see you." Shanice smiled tightly. Now she needed to find a man, and maybe a yacht. Later that night, she stared at the ceiling fan in her Ladyville apartment, regretting everything. But pride is a stubborn thing, and she couldn't back out now. After all, how hard could it be to borrow a boyfriend? Turns out, harder than designing fake business cards. Jerome Young never liked being called a handyman. He preferred engineer without the degree. From the age of 12, he'd been tinkering with outboard engines in Dengriga, learning from his grandfather, Old Man Silas, who said, "If it float and got a motor, we can fix it." At 31, Jerome ran a modest but well-respected boat repair stall near the Belize River Market. He didn't wear suits or own stocks, but he had calloused hands, a confident smile, and enough charm to make fruit vendors give him extra mangoes. He first saw Shanice when her white Nissan sputtered and stalled near his shop. She looked flustered, wearing a fitted teal blouse, heels too sharp for the gravel road, and a look that screamed, "This car better not embarrass me today." "Need help?" Jerome called out, wiping grease off his hands. She hesitated, then nodded. 15 minutes later, with the hood open and Jerome elbow-deep in wires, the car coughed back to life. "I owe you," Shanice said, relieved. "Just doing my civic duty," he grinned, "but a cold soda wouldn't hurt." They sat on the seawall with 2 orange Fantas, laughing at stray dogs chasing a crab. That's when Shanice's desperation kicked in. "I have a ridiculous question." Jerome raised an eyebrow. "I like ridiculous." She took a deep breath. "Would you pretend to be my boyfriend? For one night? Fancy reunion. I already told them I was dating a rich businessman." He blinked. "Wait, so you want me to cosplay Richie Rich? You'll get food, drinks, a tux, and the pleasure of annoying a bunch of snobs." Jerome leaned back, laughed, and looked at the sky. "This might be the stupidest thing I've ever agreed to." Then he looked at her and smiled. "But yeah, I'm in. The night of the reunion arrived like a thunderstorm in dry season, sudden, electric, and full of tension. Shanice was a bundle of nerves, adjusting her curls in the mirror of a Belmopan hotel room, while Jerome fidgeted with the borrowed tuxedo she'd picked up from a bridal shop that owed her cousin a favor. He looked good. No, dangerously good. The tux hugged his broad shoulders, and when he smiled at her in the mirror, she almost forgot he was just a pretend boyfriend. "You sure this tie's straight?" he asked, tugging at it. "You're fine," she muttered, brushing invisible lint off his chest a little too slowly. The reunion was held at the luxurious Orchid Garden estate. Fairy lights hung from palm trees. A steel pan band played softly in the background, and the guest list read like the who's who of Belize. Camila Usher arrived in a red gown that cost more than Shanice's monthly rent, clinging to her minister husband like a Gucci handbag. As Shanice walked in with Jerome, whispers trailed them like perfume. "Is that Shanice Tillett? She looks amazing. She owns an interior design business now, right? And that's her man? Chile, he fine." Shanice floated in the compliments like a queen on a barge. Jerome played the part surprisingly well. Confident smile, firm handshake, and just the right amount of mystery. But then, a waiter passed with a tray. "Try the charcuterie, sir?" he offered. Jerome squinted. "The what?" "The meats and cheeses." "Oh, you mean the fancy ham and thing. I thought that was bait." Shanice's heart stopped. Camila's eyes lit up like a predator who smelled blood. She swooped in, all sugar and venom. "So, this your man, huh? What business did you say he owned again? Fishing or fixing?" Jerome froze. Shanice's smile cracked like a glass under pressure. The ride back to Ladyville was silent. Shanice stared out the window, makeup still flawless, but pride in shambles. Jerome drove with one hand on the wheel, the other resting casually on his knee, humming an old Barrington Levy tune like nothing had happened. When they reached her apartment, a small upstairs flat with lime green walls and a potted plant she always forgot to water, Shanice finally broke. She kicked off her heels, dropped her clutch on the counter, and turned to him. "I'm sorry." Jerome blinked. "For what?" "For dragging you into my mess. For making you pretend. For not correcting Camila when she tried to out you like some kind of joke." He leaned against the kitchen doorframe, arms crossed. "You mean for being human?" Shanice's eyes welled up. "It was stupid. It was survival," he said softly. "You were just trying to keep up with people who living in a fantasy, same way you built your own." She laughed bitterly. "Mine's a broke fantasy. They have real money." Jerome stepped forward, close enough that she could smell the cologne she'd spritzed on him earlier. "Money don't make you real. You know what does? Owning who you are. I fix boats, yeah. But I also built my own business from scratch. With grease, salt water, and 2 good hands. And what you got? This eye for beauty? Them ideas in your sketchbook? That's not fake. That's talent waiting to be backed up by boldness." She looked up at him, startled. "You saw my sketchbook?" "Saw it. Flipped through it. Took a picture of one living room design 'cause I might want to build it." Her lip trembled, and for a moment it wasn't about lies or reputations, just 2 Belizeans tired of pretending. "Jerome," she whispered, "I don't want to lie anymore." "Then don't," he replied. "But maybe—" "Just don't lie to yourself either." The next morning, Shanice woke up with a pit in her stomach and Jerome's words echoing in her head. "Just don't lie to yourself either." She stared at her phone for a long time. Her finger hovered over the Facebook app like it was a red button to launch a missile. Finally, she opened it and wrote, "Last night, I showed up at my high school reunion pretending to be someone I'm not. I don't own an interior design business yet. I don't have a rich boyfriend, but he's richer in character than most. I'm just a receptionist with big dreams and a messy heart trying to stay afloat in a city where image seems to mean everything. But I'm done pretending. If you're still figuring out life too, hey, you're not alone." Real roots, still dreaming. She hit post and instantly regretted it. She shut her phone off, buried her face in a pillow, and groaned. An hour later, her cousin Jasmine burst into the apartment. "Girl, you gone viral." Shanice blinked. "What?" Her post had been shared 78 times in 2 hours. Comments rolled in. This was brave. Thank you for saying what so many of us feel. Even Camilla commented, "Takes guts. Respect." Then her phone rang. Jerome. "So," he said, casual as ever, "now that the internet knows the truth, you feel lighter?" "A little. Nervous, though." "You should feel proud." Shanice smiled. "So what now?" A pause, then, "Now that you're done pretending, you want to try something real?" She bit her lip. "Only if you bring those boat tools." Jerome laughed. "Deal, but only if you show me how to arrange throw pillows like a boss." 12 months later, the scene looked very different. Shanice stood in the middle of a newly remodeled home in Buttonwood Bay. Sunlight pouring in through wooden jalousie windows, custom shelves lined with tropical plants and Belizean hardwood. She wore paint-stained jeans, a bright bandana, and a tape measure clipped to her waistband like a boss. Jerome came in holding a toolbox in one hand and 2 fry jacks in the other. "Finished fixing that leaky sink," he said. "Also fixed my belly. Ate one of the fry jacks on the way." Shanice rolled her eyes. "So you brought me the leftovers?" "Leftovers taste better when you're hungry," he teased. They laughed like they did every day now, loud, real, and without any of the masks they once wore. Their business, Real Roots Designs, had taken off. A mashup of interior design and practical home fixes, it attracted middle-class families who wanted both beauty and Belizean practicality. Word of mouth spread fast, especially after Shanice posted before and after videos on TikTok. And yes, they went back to another reunion. This one wasn't as fancy, but it was friendlier, more honest. Jerome wore jeans and a crisp shirt. Shanice didn't need a designer dress. She walked in with confidence, Jerome's hand in hers, and introduced him as her partner, in business and in life. They ran into Camilla again. She sipped coconut water and smirked. "Well, look at you, Miss Boss Lady, for real now." Shanice smiled sweetly. "With my handyman in a tux." Camilla laughed. "Girl, you win." Later that night, on the beach in Placencia, Jerome handed her a ring inside a seashell. "No lies this time," he whispered. "Just love." Shanice's heart fluttered, and with a wide, genuine smile she said yes. 2 years later, Real Roots Designs had its own studio space near the swing bridge. It was small but vibrant, filled with bright wall art, swatches of tropical fabrics, and a constantly boiling kettle for creative tea breaks. Their slogan now read, "Built with truth, designed with love." Business boomed. Shanice was featured on Belize Homestyle magazine. Jerome became a minor celebrity in handyman Facebook groups and was even invited to speak at a trade school graduation in Belmopan. But success didn't change them. He still tracked mud into the showroom. She still hid his tools in decorative baskets. And every Friday they danced barefoot to old punta songs in their tiny kitchen, arguing over whose turn it was to cook. One afternoon, a familiar face walked into the studio. Camila Usher, holding a clipboard and a sheepish smile. "I need a living room makeover," she said. "Something warm, less gold, more soul." Shanice blinked. "You serious?" Camila sighed. "My husband's running for higher office. I want our home to feel like home, not like a campaign ad." Shanice looked at Jerome. He raised a brow. "We charging her double, right?" They both burst out laughing. Jasmine, Shanice's wild cousin, barged in next, phone in hand. "Guess what? I just signed up for a dating show called Island Love. They filming in San Pedro. And I'm going in with a plan, y'all. I'm catching a husband or a headline." Jerome shook his head. "This family got no breaks." Shanice smiled, watching the chaos unfold. She once lied to fit in. Now she stood tall in her truth, surrounded by love, laughter, and enough drama to last a lifetime. And for the first time ever, her dream wasn't just alive. It was real. From one lie to a lifetime of love. Sometimes pretending leads you to the truth. Thanks for watching. Love Under False Pretenses, a Belizean Romance. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a good twist of drama and Caribbean flavor. And remember, around here, love always comes with a little mischief.